Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Rambo the video game? You know, I've just had a relaxing massage. Just half an hour massage session. It's pretty good, actually. Feeling fairly zen. I felt it was required before going into this. Because holy crap. You have no idea. Rambo the video game is brought to you by Teyon. You wouldn't have heard of them. And there's a reason for that, because they have not made a single game of note ever, but they have made a huge number of video games. I guess people have forgotten that these kind of companies exist. I mean, Double Helix kind of used to be one. Basically, the developers that are contracted out for shovelware titles. Just throwaways, really. As it stands, Teyon has created literally hundreds of games, none of which are any good whatsoever. You know, if you've heard of them for anything, it's probably the Heavy Fire series, which is a fairly poor modern military shooter. They've done all sorts of things like Fashion Advisor and all sorts of nonsense like that. And now, somehow they get a hold of the Rambo license for all things, and we find a $40, supposedly like kind of AAA price release here on PC. And what is it, you might ask? Oh, you're about to find out. That's the graphics options. There's a launcher that allows you to pick low, medium, or high. I had to double check it for a second to make sure I was actually on high, and you'll see why in a moment. This is difficult to understand, really. HUD-style arcade and normal. One would think it would default to normal. Surely that's the point. But apparently it doesn't. You can turn your weapons on or off, and you might want to turn them off, because these are the biggest weapon models in any game you will ever see. I mean, I'm talking larger than Titanfall here. Ugh. At least you have separate volume sliders, so I can give them credit for that, but you can't change the volume of the voice acting, which as it turns out is fairly pertinent because the volume is all over the place. I can't identify whether the voice acting in this game is actually directly taken from the movie, because that would explain some of it, and I'm pretty sure they just tossed some in as well. So, if it is from the movie, then maybe, just maybe, that's why the levels are all over the place, but I don't even know. Oh man, you are gonna experience. You will experience. Now, before I start, I should show you skills and perks. That is their version of Rambo, by the way. Look at those hair physics. That's obviously where all the budget went. So you have available perks, which include this one, Cool Hand U, no QTE fails. This literally makes the QTE sections completely and totally unfailable, meaning you can just leave the computer for several minutes, come back, and have won the level. I am not kidding. Oh my. I think we'll grab... Well, you know what? We'll keep this because I want to demonstrate how it works. And you can upgrade your skills, which they're very dull. It's just percentage-based stuff, mostly. More damage, more ammo, blah, blah, blah. You know, nothing all that interesting. You might be thinking, well, this is a first-person shooter, right? You're wrong. And no, it does not have rebindable keys. In fact, if I show you the controls, I think you might be quite surprised. But you can't see the controls. You can only see the controls once you get into the game. Of course. Of course. Alright, here we go. So, I suppose we are using the machine gun by the looks of it. Alright, let's rock and roll. Not much choice here. It does have two-player mode. It's only local, as you might imagine. Controller settings, sensitivity. I had to mess around with this. There's blatant mouse acceleration going on, so the mouse control feels absolutely horrible. But if we go to controls, these are the controls. You might be noticing, huh, where's movement? Exactly. This game is on rails.
The police made a terrible mistake, thinking he died in that cave-in. John Rambo had scrambled out of much darker places in Nam. He was a machine of war. We made him that way. And that sheriff, those cops, they switched the machine on, and they didn't know how to turn it off.
You impressed yet? Welcome to a rail shooter. On PC, if you can actually believe that. The sole point of this game is to do quick time events and shoot people. And that's kind of about it. Now, you get extra points for disarming cops. If you don't do that, you end up getting a cop killer award, or I suppose demerit, which actually reduces your score. There is a cover system in certain areas. It's entirely context sensitive, so depending on which area it puts you in depends on when you can actually use the cover system. Incidentally, this is a perfectly safe way of taking cops out. As long as you hit them in the leg, it actually doesn't bloody matter. I kid ye not. Alright, the reload system, as you can see, nicks stuff from Gears of War, pretty obviously. Nothing particularly surprising about that. There's also a so-called Wrath mode, which enables you to regenerate your health by shooting people. This is the entire game, outside of some ridiculous quick-time events. In fact, there are entire levels which don't involve shooting at all, and are nothing but crappy QTEs. I wish I was kidding. I most assuredly am not, however. This is the Rambo game? This is what they came up with. Of all the things you could have done with Rambo, you decided, you know what we need? A rail shooter. On a platform that doesn't even have a light gun. Now, you may have noticed in the cutscenes that things did not look particularly good. Really bad facial modeling. A ridiculous-looking titular character, if you can actually believe that. Horrible explosions, terrible special effects, and just piss poor graphical fidelity. Now, half of that is the fault of the developer. Well, it's all the fault of the developer, but it's two different faults. One being that they compressed all the cutscenes with a terrible video codec, and it looks absolutely awful. Just incredibly bad. Shockingly so. And the second half is they just don't have the talent, or indeed the resources, to actually make people look like bloody people. It's just absolutely absurd. And this is a full 40 price release in $40 release in 2014. Are you kidding me? Who are you trying to fool with this? Come on, explain that to me. This is the kind of thing you would find on an Asda shelf, yeah, in the budget section, where you get a bunch of random crappy games that are just aimed at people that don't know any better, and yet those are usually like $5 to $10. This is a $40 full-priced release, and pretends to be way more than it is, by the way. The screenshots on Steam, complete and total bullshots. Just ridiculous bullshots. And that blows my mind that they can even get away with that. No part of the game looks anywhere close to as good as those screenshots indicate it does. What you are watching is the entire experience. The entire experience. A complete and total rail shooter. Now, are there all that many rail shooters on PC? Not anymore, because they had the bloody common sense not to make them anymore. Because they serve no practical purpose. If you do a rail shooter, generally you put it on a console with a light gun. Yeah? Because light gun games, they have some value. They're kind of enjoyable. If you've got the right peripheral for them, they're very much an arcadey kind of experience. But this is pointless. This is a complete and total waste of your time. And this apparently can be beaten in about 3 hours. 3 hours. Does it have any replayability? Not really. Not from what I can tell. Everything plays out the same. There don't appear to be any choices to be made, like some of the more advanced light gun games that came out. What was the point in that cutscene even being there? Aside from it being a complete and total waste of time. Demolish the police station. Alright. Thanks for interrupting my gameplay to tell me that. The game looks and feels absolutely disgraceful. The actual gunplay is awful, but that's kind of to be expected from a light gun experience. I mean, what else would you expect? You've just got a basic kind of cone of fire recoil system, and that's kind of about it. You've got this wrath bar that allows you to regenerate your health, and you can get a grenade. That's pretty much it. You can get a grenade. Why? You know, why would you pay money for something like this? And more to the point, why do you think you could charge $40 for something so obviously simplistic and absurd? I mean, What a way to disrespect the franchise as well. I mean, you know, that's a good license you've got going on there. You could actually make something happen with that license. Did they? Oh, hell no. Absolutely not. What a joke. I mean, the game looks disgraceful. It looks ancient. Like, this could have been a PlayStation 2 game. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that either. I have seen texture quality in rail shooters on the PlayStation 2 platform that has looked fairly similar to this. Later original Xbox titles look like this. This is a shoddy piece of rubbish. And I am shocked that something like this could somehow find its way onto Steam. And apparently it did. It didn't go through Greenlight. It went through a new publisher who's only ever released one other game before, and that was about a month ago. So apparently that is all you need to get on Steam. But there is no way in a million years you should ever consider buying this title. Everything about it is just awful. I'm astonished, really. Absolutely astonished. It's okay, don't worry. QTEs, I can't fail them. Doesn't matter. You can't fail the QTEs. You can only get extra points by doing them properly. Oh, what a farcical waste of time. Wait for the right moment. Hit the button. So, I just like to make the developer aware that we have something called first-person shooters. Yep. And what you do in a first-person shooter is you move yourself. I know, it's amazing. And then you aim your gun and you shoot men. And it actually works fairly well, shockingly enough. You're probably surprised to learn about that, but... man, what can I say? They are video games. Turns out people like them. I know we have too many modern military shooters these days. I understand that. FPS is a fairly saturated genre, but we do not need a rail shooter.
Kill me! Rambo! Rambo, don't do it! Listen to me, Rambo. You have no chance. The building's perimeter is covered. No exit. There are nearly 200 men out there and a lot of M16s. This mission is over, Rambo. Do you understand me? This mission is over!
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. I am actually convinced that they ripped most of the voice acting from the movie. There's no other way it could sound so ridiculously inconsistent. And by the sounds of it, they've thrown in new voice acting as well, which doesn't sound anything close to that. So, it's a 3-hour rail shooter. It's a complete and total waste of time. The PC version is terrible. It looks awful, it plays awful, it sounds awful, and it has no place on this platform. It's really as simple as that. What a way to piss on the license. Lord knows how they got a hold of it, but someone should take it away from them immediately before they do further damage. The top tag for this game right now on Steam is Sylvester Stallone is spinning in his grave. And that's more accurate than you can possibly imagine. Rambo the video game. A farce. An absolute, complete, and total farce. Certainly, if Guise of the Wolf wasn't released this year, this would be a contender for worst game of the year so far. Fortunately for it, Guise of the Wolf is somehow even worse than this. Admittedly, it's kind of hard to screw up a rail shooter, isn't it? It is, you know, it is difficult to mess up a rail shooter. And of course it would be. Because all it involves is clicking on the enemy. That's it. That's all you do. So how do you mess that up? Well, the answer is you don't.
Listen, man. Chopper's coming.
I'll show you the Vietnam level just for the hell of it. It's just more shooting. In this case, you can just gun them down. You get bonus points for headshots. Really as simple as that. Not particularly difficult. It has revolutionary racist hat physics, as you can see. Oh, jeez. Unbelievable. No. Put this in an arcade, and maybe I'd play it. Especially if you give me a nice big plastic AK-47 or M60. That would be fun. That would be fun. Give me a mouse and keyboard, and I ask, well, where's the goddamn video game? Because you seem to have forgot to put it in. Jeez. Bloody hell. Rambo the video game is inexplicably available For the low, low price of $40, you could buy pretty much anything else and you'd have a better experience. Yeah, I'd say so. I don't think that's an unfair assessment. Oh my god. Unbelievable. I'll see you next time.